How you doing? My name is Frank Hollister, Town of Perry Highway Department here in Perry, New York, and this is my invention. Okay, so what you see there in front of you is my little invention. It's what I used to polish our wheels on our trucks. We take great pride in our equipment. Everything looks really nice, try to keep it looking nice. And every winter, when we have some downtime, we take the wheels off of our trucks, the rear wheels, and we actually switch them out with steel wheels for the winter. And so during the winter months, I will polish them and make them all look really nice and prepared for spring. So I'm going to explain everything here. All this stuff you see is all scrap or pieces that were given to me. That little table thingy there, that little speed limit sign you saw, that is just a little shelf that I use. I put boxes of sandpaper on it, maybe, rags, whatever, my mask when I take a break. Whatever I'm using just to keep stuff up off the floor. That little battery there operates the wheel that you see behind it. That wheel is mounted on a motor that came off of a camper awning arm. One of the guys that I work with, his camper we got caught in a rainstorm actually, and the wind ripped the awning and broke one of the arms. So him and I replaced it, and when we did, we saved that little motor. And when I decided to build this, I asked him if I could use it, and he gave it to me, and that's what I use it on, is this little contraption here, which you'll see how that works in a moment. These big rollers here, this is where the tire will sit and rotate while I'm polishing or sanding. And both of those rollers were given to me by a friend of mine that works at one of the quarries we haul from. They were replacing a bunch of those rollers on one of their conveyors, and they were just going to scrap those. So they work perfect for what I'm doing. Right here you'll see these are little wheels those are the only things that we had to purchase at our local hardware store. Basically the wheel sits on those rollers that you just saw, and it sits between those two little rollers there. And that bracket right there is just basically to keep it in standing up straight. So it can't fall forward and it can't fall backwards. This is an old signpost that we used to build this, and the bracket, or the frame, and both of those brackets there can go in and out and up and down. So if I have a smaller tire or whatnot, we can adjust for what we need. But usually they're all the same. They're just our truck tires. This is just a little bracket here I made to set my buffers on. Excuse me. Here's some pipe we had laying around. I've used a couple pieces of, again, I think those are old signs or something that are underneath the buffers. A couple pieces of a little rod that we had. I just like to keep everything up off the floor so there's no cords for tripping hazards or for me to run over with my stool. So it's nice to just kind of have everything up in the air and off the floor to keep it clean for me as well, and safe. So I had that little strip there that I mounted on it. I had that at home, just brought it in and just zip tied it there to the bar. I zip tied my cords up and off the floor so that they wouldn't hang on the floor. But I made them just long enough so that when I'm actually polishing the wheels or sanding, the buffers will reach. And then I have just a little bracket that I made there that my sander hangs off of, just a little DeWalt sander that I use to sand the rims first. I always clean the rims really good, and then I sand them depending on how pitted or how bad they are. I'll sand them first, get them nice and smooth, and then I'll go through and polish them. So this little motor here, I take that bungee cord and I hook it into the eyelet right there, and you'll see this here in a little bit. So when I pull it up there, that little wheel off of a lawnmower actually, that I put some screws in for some traction, that will be pressed up against the tire once I have it in there. Turn on that little switch, and that little motor just turns that little wheel, and in turn the wheel spins the tire for me. And I'm going to show you here in just a second on some sanding and some polishing here at the end. So this right here is, this rim is almost done, and I just wanted to use it as an example to show you how I get the wheels up there. I made that little red thing there that is lifting the tire. We call it a proboscis. Just basically it hooks into each side of the rim, and when you pull pressure on it with the crane there, it squeezes it together, which then safely lifts the wheel up in the air for us. And then I use it to set it onto my little stand there. And you can see that I'm talking here. It's easier to do a voiceover and be able to re-record it if I have to. versus trying to remake the video 100 times, and I'm not really good at this stuff, so this is my first video ever. So this is why I'm doing the voiceover, and you see me talking there and nothing's coming out. But I'm explaining basically that I set it there with the proboscis and the crane. Then I roll the tire back and put it in position that I want it. And again, the backside of the tire is going to lean against the back roller there. Okay, so this is just some sanding. First I use my my little DeWalt sander, hand sander, and then I go to a different, I use my high-speed buffer with a different kind of sanding wheel on that. And then after that I do the polishing, which you're going to see here next. And the end result is going to be what you're going to see in the very last picture, which is my truck, which I take great pride in. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.